This is a move in the Major League Baseball offseason that nobody's talking about. They were talking about it for a little bit, but it's been forgotten ever since. And I believe it's the most impactful trade that we've seen in a very long time. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vrionis, and one trade that really stood out to me, one move that didn't get as many headlines as I thought it would, the Kyle Tucker trade. And this Kyle Tucker trade to the Chicago Cubs, I don't know if it vaults them into a playoff spot in the National League. I don't even know how much better it makes them. But Kyle Tucker is one of the best players in baseball when he's healthy. And this was a steal of a deal for the Chicago Cubs, who had to give up quite a little bit, but they're getting one of the best players in baseball. And if they can manage to re-sign him, it's one of the greatest trades that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. But before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. We're close to 3K. So shout out to you guys for all of the support that you've given to me over these last few videos. But I wanted to shed a little bit of light because I've been neglecting this trade as well. I spoke about it very briefly once it ended up happening, but it's kind of been silence and crickets ever since. So Kyle Tucker, as I mentioned, I believe one of the best players in baseball. I'd even go as far as to say he's a top 10 player in baseball when he's healthy. And he put up 5 wins above replacement last year in just 78 games. That is absurd, people. That is absurd. 4.7 WAR in 78 games. I don't know what that prorates to, but I think it doubles because so let's say 78 times 2, that would be close to 160 games, 156 games if I'm not mistaken. And he would be double that. He would be over a 9 wins above replacement season. Now, who's to say he keeps up that pace? It would have been a career year by a mile for Kyle Tucker, who had 23 home runs in half the games. But it was a great year for him. He's got 1 year left before he hits free agency. So it is a risky deal for the Cubs, who are seemingly trying to go all in here and who are telling themselves that this is the deal that is going to push them over the hump. I'm not so sure that it is, but what I am sure about is that when Kyle Tucker is healthy, and for the most part he has been for the last 3 years, so when he is healthy, I think he's a top 10 player in baseball. He's a 5-tool guy. And Juan Soto got $800 million or close to that from the New York Mets. I don't think it's outrageous to say that Kyle Tucker can get $500 or $600 million in free agency. He's that good, and he's been one of the more underrated players in baseball. Doesn't necessarily get the love because he is with Houston. So first off, that's a red flag. Being with Houston, no one's going to like you for the cheating scandal and what went down. But the second aspect to that is the fact that he plays with Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve, who are absolute monsters come postseason time, as is Alex Bregman. So Kyle Tucker kind of gets the short end of the stick, even though he's been fairly good in the playoffs as well. So I think he actually hasn't been very good in the playoffs. So maybe that's why he doesn't get all the fanfare and the appreciation that some of the other guys do. But look, Kyle Tucker, great player, really someone that I think the Cubs can build around if they manage to keep him. But this is a team that has struggled to keep players and struggled to pay players, maybe by their own demise. Maybe they're just not doing what needs to be done here. So I just wanted to shed some light on this Kyle Tucker deal because I think it's one of the best of the offseason. And definitely a player to look out for if you're playing fantasy baseball. Always underrated when it comes to that aspect of his game. So Kyle Tucker, one of the best in baseball. Going to be a ton of fun to watch the Chicago Cubs this year. They may end up with 82 wins, and it may be a moot point when he leaves for nothing, but hey, they're going to be fun to watch, and Kyle Tucker is going to be the face of that team for at least the 2025 season. But let me know in the comments down below, guys. What is the best move of the offseason for you, for any team? What was the most exciting move of the offseason, the most exciting free agency pursuit? It's truly no limit. So let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you all tomorrow.